Hey everybody, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to make a Dollar Tree Thanksgiving dinner. I have it planned out in my head, but this is an experiment and a challenge, so we'll both be surprised what comes of this and if it tastes any good. But I'll let you know. So this should be enough to feed my family, which is 4 people. Let me go ahead and show you what I got to work with. Here are the 13 items that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Let me give you a rundown of what I got. I picked up 2 packages of those dehydrated hash brown potatoes, a package of the crispy onions, box of stuffing mix, which I was very excited to find today because last time I went, they did not have it. Then we have 2 tins of the luncheon loaves. This is probably the item I'm a little bit worried about the taste of, but we'll see how it goes. Can of cream of chicken soup. I wanted cream of mushroom for this meal because I thought it would have worked better, but they didn't have any. Pack of margarine, let's see how many ounces. I think it's only 3 ounces. 3 ounces of cheese. Yeah. A can of green beans. Package of the seasoning mix comes with onion, celery, red and green bell pepper, and parsley. And then for dessert, here we have the gingerbread cookie mix and some cream cheese frosting. I do have these spices that I'd like to use if needed. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. I usually allow myself to use these in these kinds of budget challenges. But so we're going to put together this Thanksgiving meal at the cost of $16.25 for 4 people. Let's get going. Hey y'all, just real quick here before we get started. This is me after I've already filmed everything, and this morning I went to my computer to download all my files, and when I opened my files from here on out, none of them had any audio. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong. Obviously it had something to do with the mic because right now as I'm recording this, the mic's working fine. So I think I'd either disconnected it wrong or I possibly double tapped it so when I thought I was turning it on, I was turning it on, and then I tapped it again and turned it off. Doesn't matter what it is, there's no audio on anything. Fortunately, since I'm trying to turn this around real quick, I do remember what I did yesterday, and I'm going to voice over this whole thing, and it's going to still turn out wonderful and fabulous, just not my usual format. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to go ahead and push play on this, and we're going to get started with this meal. First things first, I've got to reconstitute these potatoes. I'm going to fill up to the line in this box with some hot water. I didn't quite heat enough up, so I had to grab some more. And now I'm going to close them up and let them sit for about 12 minutes. It's now time for me to open these luncheon loaves. There's a little can opener on the bottom of it that you take off, and then you slide into the tab on the side of the can, and you just kind of wind it until the whole thing opens up. It was actually easier than I thought it would be, but when I got to the end, I started going a little too fast. That's when the can opener slid out from the can shavings on both the cans, as you see here. Now that I've got both of these luncheon loaves out of the tins, I'm going to cut them into small pieces. I went with a little bit smaller piece so I could get more pan fry on them. I just thought the more of the meat that touches the pan to get it crisp is probably going to be better flavor. Now that they're all chopped up, I'm going to take a little chunk of this margarine here and place that in the pan, and then add the chopped up meat from these loaves to that and give it a stir on medium heat for a few minutes. At this point, the meat is warmed. I wanted to get it a little crispier, but that's okay. I'm going to have to stop here because, as you can see, the meat is soft and bits of it are getting stuck to the pan, and I don't want it to completely crumble or disintegrate. So I'm going to go ahead and stop at this point and call it good. And here in this pan, I'm ready to put the potatoes in. I need to drain them, and then I'm going to put them in my pan. Alright, as you can see here, I've got the cartons all drained out. I am unintentionally leaking some water into my meat pan here while I'm getting the potatoes into the margarine here. But as you will see here in a moment, that was actually quite helpful because the water got into those meat bits that were stuck in the pan and I was able to get them up. And I did leave them in there because I thought, hey, more flavor. Can't go wrong there. These potatoes, I am pan frying them in the margarine until they get a little bit crispy. And I'm going to be adding some seasoning into them here shortly. The meat is now ready to get the seasoning blend mixture poured into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour the whole bag into this pan here. And then I'm going to stir that for a few minutes, still on medium heat. I'm going to keep stirring both of these dishes until everything is cooked to the way I like it. It's now time to add some seasoning to both of these dishes. So here first in this meat and veggie dish, I have put in some shakes of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And in the potatoes, I also put in salt, pepper, and garlic powder, but I also put in onion powder. I figure the meat veggie mixture doesn't need onion powder because there's already plenty of onions in there from the seasoning blend. As you can see here, I continue to be able to get up all the bits from my pan with the moisture from both the accidental water dripping from the potatoes and also the moisture from the vegetables. It did end up sticking on me after all the moisture evaporated, but it'll all work out again because here I am pouring the meat and veggie mixture into my casserole dish. And the next step will be to get the stuffing mix done. And I'm going to be using this pan here that I had the meat in, and it will lift up all the rest of the bits that we did not get out of there. And once I get this pan back on the burner, I'm going to be adding about 1/4 cup of margarine and 2 cups of water. And I'm going to bring that to a boil. And as you can see, it brings up anything that was left in the pan. So we're not going to lose any flavor or any of our meat or veggies that we had in this dish. Now that we've got this water and margarine and pan bits to a rolling boil, I'm going to go ahead and open up this bag of stuffing and I'm going to put the whole bag of stuffing into here. I also am turning off the heat. And then I'm going to combine the stuffing with the meat and veggie mixture. I'm going to give that a gentle stir, and I probably should have used a bigger casserole dish, but it's in here now, so this is what it's going to be. After gently stirring that, I'm going to cover it with some aluminum foil. I have also preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and all 3 of these dishes here that I'm making are going to be cooked in that 350-degree oven. And it's okay to leave some in longer than others. They're all going to be cooked essentially before they go into the oven. So in the oven, it is a matter of blending the flavors. This is going to go in my oven, which is at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. Time to get the potatoes into the casserole dish. All right, so the potatoes in the pan are nice and crispy, so I am putting them into this pan. Also, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, that block of cheese, I went ahead and shredded that, and I've also melted 2 tablespoons of margarine. I'm going to open up this can of cream of chicken soup, and I'm going to be placing about 2/3 of the can into the potatoes. Along with the cream of chicken soup, I also added about 3/4 cup of water and about half of the cheese. And I gave that all a mix, stirring it all together really well. After all the potatoes, cheese, and soup and water is all mixed together really well, I flattened it out and then I put the rest of the shredded cheese on top along with about half the bag of the crispy onions. Then I covered this casserole dish up with some aluminum foil and it went into the 350-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. I have my can of green beans here. I drained the liquid into this bowl here. I'm going to be using the liquid in my green bean casserole. So now I'm going to dump the green beans in my little pie dish here, add in the rest of the can of the cream of chicken soup, and about half the liquid from the can of green beans. I added some pepper, and I'm going to give all that a stir real good, and then I'm going to cover that up and stick that in the oven. That is, as you know, set for 350 degrees. This will get crispy onions as well, but we're going to add those on a little bit later. For the cookies, I just followed the instructions on the package of the cookie mix. So into my bowl here, I have 3 tablespoons of margarine, the cookie mix, and 1 tablespoon of water, and I just mix all that up until it is nice and blended and looks like cookie dough. And then I greased a cookie sheet, and on this cookie sheet, I divided the dough into 12 pieces. So I'm going to have 12 cookies, and that's going to go into the oven at 350 degrees for 12 minutes. The package says 375 for 12 to 14, but I put it in my oven along with all the other food, as you can see here, for 12 minutes, and they were done cooking. So I guess it depends on your oven. And here, as you can see, after I have cooled them on a cooling rack, I just placed some frosting on these cookies, and it was the packaged frosting. I did go the budget way of frosting these cookies and used a Ziploc bag and snipped off the ends to get the frosting to come out. At this point, all the dishes are finished, and a rundown on the time that everything was in the oven. The main dish was in for about 45 minutes. The potatoes were in for about 30 minutes, and the green bean casserole for about 20 to 25 minutes. So now I want to crisp up the top of the main dish, and I'm also going to add the crispy onions to the green bean casserole. I'm going to put my oven on a low broil, and then I'm going to stick these under the broiler for a couple of minutes. The potatoes are completely finished as they are. I forgot that I had the dishes under the broiler until I smelled them, and I did burn the top of the onions on the green bean casserole. The main dish is fine, but if you don't want your onions burnt to a crisp like I did it, you gotta stay in there and watch that broiler. Here's our complete Dollar Tree Thanksgiving dinner. Here's our main dish. This is the casserole with the luncheon loaf all chopped up, and the vegetables and the stuffing mix. And then we have our potatoes with some cheese, cream of chicken soup, and crispy onions. And of course our green bean casserole with our crispy onions on top, and then our gingerbread cookies with the cream cheese frosting. I'm going to go ahead and get my plate made. All right, and here is my complete plate. As you can see, it looks rather nice. It's well rounded. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I thought of all the dishes. Let's start here with the main casserole dish. The luncheon loaf meat, it wasn't bad in flavor at all. I did think that the pieces I had that were from the top that got crispy from the broiler were better. And with that, I say probably if I could have crisped it up a little bit better in the pan, it probably would have had a better overall flavor. The stuffing mix in this was loaded with Thanksgiving flavors. I didn't read what spices they put in it, although they probably wouldn't even tell me. It probably just said spices. But it did remind me completely of what Thanksgiving stuffing normally tastes like. Overall, I give this dish, I would say, a 7 out of 10. I think what would have made it better for me is possibly to have used a different meat in it. If I were to make it again, I would switch to the deli ham slices, or possibly even the sausage that they have in the refrigerator section there at Dollar Tree. The green bean casserole, it was green bean casserole. There really wasn't anything remarkable about it, but I guess that's good because it tasted like I normally taste a green bean casserole. So I guess if that's the overall goal, go ahead and make it like this. The potato side dish, that was my favorite dish of the meal. It absolutely was delicious. And I had some again today for leftovers, and again, it was just delicious. I plan on using those potatoes for other meals because those potatoes are really great. If you want more cheese flavor, you're probably going to want to put another block of that cheese into the potato dish. But other than that, Everything was really good in there. It was a great combination. Everything blended nicely. I will give it a 9 out of 10 just because I would have liked a little bit more cheese in it. The gingerbread cookie with the frosting. I would say skip this. Just skip it. This is just my opinion. Nobody in our family likes the canned frosting. Truth be told, we've had canned frosting and we've never liked canned frosting. I just saw other people were saying, oh, it's really good. This is a good flavor. If you don't like canned frosting, you're not gonna like the cream cheese canned frosting either. That's my opinion. My regret is getting that. I should have got a little thing of ice cream and then just made ice cream sandwich cookies. That would have worked well. Because the gingerbread cookies, they were fine. Okay, you guys, that is the roundup of what I thought of the food. Remember, though, in these holiday times, the most important thing is not the meal you have, but to be able to spend time with those that you love the most. I thank you so much that you allowed me to take up some time of your day today, and I hope that this was fun for you and could be helpful. And thank you so much for all of you who watched, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.